Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jai Jagannatha Jai Baladeva Subhadra Mai Jaya Chitarasara Jai Nitai Chaitanya Jai Nitai Chaitanya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for this Saturday morning Srimad Bhagavatam summary class. It's nice to be here again. We're in a very technical topic, but let's see how much we can cover today. Before that, let's quickly do the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarna Paramanand Madam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram That's Krishna. Today we are going to continue from Canto 5, Chapter 24. Let's do a bit of recap. Sharing my screen. Let's do a bit of recap, right? So we are in this part of our study where we are talking about the secondary creation by Lord Brahma. In fact, the primary creation was done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and the secondary creation is by Lord Brahma. In that, we actually came down to this whole creation that was created due to King Priyavrata's chariot, and he split out things and stuff like that. Right? So, which we saw on the 15th chapter. In fact, there's a question by our Parikshit Maharaj asking what happened, why happened was explained, what actually happened, and that's why we saw this whole secondary creation by Brahma, and then we saw the different dvipas. In that one, we came down to Jambu Dvipa. In Jambu Dvipa, we saw the different varshas, and in all the different varshas, we are in Bharata Varsha. The center of this Jambu Dvipa is your Ilavrita Varsha. In that Ilavrita Varsha, right in the middle is your Sumeru mountain, which is your Meru mountain or Sumeru, which is your inverted cone, which is the golden mountain. On top of it is the different planetary systems of the various demigods, including that of Lord Brahma, the Satyaloka. So this planetary system, this Sumeru mountain ends like this and continues downwards. So where it ends, this point is where we have our Bharatvarsha, right? So that's where we saw. Now, after that, we saw how Ganges flows from the lotus feet of the Lord. What happens in the higher planetary systems of Mandakini, then comes down to the earthly planet system as your Ganga and goes down as Bhogavati. Now, when we said goes down to the various Patal Lokas as Bhogavati, we also saw that these were all very opulent places. That's what we'll actually be discussing a little bit more. We saw the different prayers, and then we saw the structure of the universe, and there we saw the movement of the sun. So I don't know how many of you remember the retrograde motion of the sun. The sun goes anti-clockwise, while the other planetary systems goes clockwise, and it looks like the sun is actually traveling backward, which is called the retrograde motion. We saw that details of the movement of the sun in the 21st chapter. right? So then we moved on to the orbits of the planets, basically talking about your pole star, the Dhruva acting as the chandelier, the head of the chandelier, and all the planetary systems connected to that through an invisible wind. Right, so these are pretty technical topics. And lastly, in the previous chapter, we saw the planetary systems arranged. When you see it from here, how do the various sages or the yogis meditate on this creation by the Lord? Like we saw the Virata Rupa of the Lord or the Vishwarupa of the Lord, which is an imaginary form of the entire creation. That's what we see in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where you can put all the elements in this creation as a form of the Lord's body, right? So the eyes are the sun and the moon and so on, right? So we saw that. Similarly, in the 23rd chapter, we discussed about how the sages see this creation in the form of a dolphin, Shishumara. So the Shishumara planetary system, with the tail of the Shishumara being the Dhruvaloka, and the other planetary systems arranged across it, like the stars of the seven sages, the Loka of the seven sages, and so on, right? So this entire piece arranged that way. And again, it's an imaginary form, but the form is available in the cosmos. And in the previous chapter, in this, so we then came to the 24th chapter. In the 24th chapter, we go into this. So this particular chapter, if you see my screen, we saw firstly the higher planetary systems in brief, right? So not too much detail. We have already known this. So we are here in the Bhuloka. I'm hoping my screen is visible, right? So too much silence. Is my screen visible? Can devotees confirm?
Yes, Prabhuji,
Okay,
visible.
thank you, ma'am. Yeah, that helps. So we are looking everything from this Bhuloka perspective. So we have the Bhurloka, Swargaloka, and all these on the higher planetary systems all the way till Lord Brahma, which is your Satyaloka. Now we also saw the different lokas between near this Swargaloka, your lokas where the other Gandharvas are there, Charanas are there, right? So this is your higher planetary system. Now that's where we ended. Typical this bottom part is a very famous Telugu movie dialogues, Atala Vitala Sutala Talatala Rasatala Mahatala and Patala. These are your lower planetary systems. Many times people confuse if the lower planetary systems are your hell, upper planetary systems are Swarga, right? So we have this heaven and hell, Swarga and Naraka. Well, that's what we will clarify today. So the lower planetary systems are not Naraka. Naraka comes below that, which we will discuss in the subsequent chapter. But here we are talking about the subterranean heavenly planets. They are heavenly planets, but they have a certain clause to it. Okay. So each of these planets from Atala all the way to Patala, we will be discussing in the second half of this chapter, which is what we'll try to cover. Okay, what is there? Who are these people, and what is it that we will learn? Is what we will see. Let's so the shlokas themselves are pretty complicated. So I'll skip the shlokas and directly go into the translations and purpose by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. I'll start with shloka 16 because here is where the description starts. If it's already covered in the previous class, we'll just briefly touch upon it. My dear king, now I shall describe to you the lower planetary systems one by one, beginning from Atala. In Atala, there is a demon, the son of Maya Danava, named Bala, who created 96 kinds of mystic powers. Some so called yogis and swamis take advantage of this mystic power to cheat people even today. Simply by yawning, the demon Bala created three kinds of women known as Swarini, Kamini, and Pumschali. The Swarini like to marry men from their own group. The Kaminis marry men from other groups, and the Pumschali change husbands one after another. If a man enters the planet of Atala, these women immediately capture him and induce him to drink an intoxicating beverage made with the drug known as Hataka or cannabis indica. This intoxicant endows the man with great sexual prowess, of which the women take advantage for enjoyment. A woman will enchant him with attractive glances, intimate words, smiles of love, and then embraces. In this way, she induces him to enjoy sex with her to her full satisfaction. Because of his increased sexual power, The man thinks himself stronger than 10,000 elephants and considers himself most perfect. Indeed, illusion and intoxicated by false pride, he thinks himself God, ignoring, impeding death. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितमेन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सनातन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिचयसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् साधनललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास्ति गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा. Fine. So today we'll be discussing about these lower planetary systems. So let me set up some context for it. Right. So these lower planetary systems, these are, like I already mentioned, these are subterranean heavenly planets, meaning they are swargas. Bilva Swarga is the common name for this, the lower Swarga. What is the difference? Is how do you go to Swarga? What we have learned so far. When you do a lot of pious activities, then you go to Swargaloka. This is the Swarga that we have here. This Swargaloka. What is this Loka? Basically, you have a longer duration of life. And during your duration of life, you have a lot of opulences and a lot of enjoyment. In simple terms, you will enjoy. Now, so the lower planetary system here, the Bilva Swarga, is also meant for the same purpose. That means you have a lot of pious credits and you're meant to enjoy. The difference between the lower and the higher planetary system is the upper Swarga and the lower Swarga. In upper Swarga, you have an opportunity to associate with the devotees, read scriptures, pastimes of the Lord, and the Lord protects you so that you can go back. So you become a Devata if you go there. Devata are associates or demigods who are favorably inclined towards the pastimes of the Lord. When you come to the lower heavenly planets, the same concept applies that you have a lot of fire spirits, but by nature you are demoniac. By nature you are demoniac. That's why you go into the lower planetary systems. Here you are called the Daityas. You are not the Devatas, but you are called the Daityas or the demons. And here your pious credit is again consumed for enjoyment, like in the higher planetary systems. In fact, in a couple of places, it's mentioned that some of these places are more opulent than the higher planetary systems as well. More opulent than the Swargaloka. The Bilva Swarga sometimes is more opulent than the Swargaloka, the planet of, the Devatas or the kingdom of your Indra. So who goes here? Basically, the demoniacally mentality people, right? So a person who does pious activities, but for pure sense gratification. He's very interested in sense gratification. That's the only purpose of doing any pious activity. Doesn't want gods, demigods. He doesn't do ritualistic activities. Okay, and definitely not spiritual activities. Okay, those are the kind of people who actually take such bodies. Again, the duration of life there is very similar to that of the higher planetary systems. The biggest difference in this is just, you can see this place is pretty bright, and the higher planetary system receives the sun. If you remember the movement of the sun chapter, you will see that the sun is placed higher from Earth's perspective, from Bhuloka perspective, and all the way till your Satyaloka, there is sunlight that goes, the sun moves, right? The sunlight goes. But below this Bhumandala, the sunlight does not enter. Below this Bhumandala, okay, this is Bhuloka here, which is our place. So this entire Loka, this is your Bhumandala. Below that, the sunlight does not enter. So these places are usually dark in nature. Okay. And it is said maximum sense gratification happens during dark. During not during night, because the day and night here is not because of sun and moon, right? So the place is dark, right? So it is said, I mean, so for any of you who have been to the US or been to Las Vegas, you will understand what I mean, what I'm saying here, right? So when you enter into the casinos of the Vegas, enter into the big hotels of the Vegas, there is zero sunlight. You are absolutely bewildered by the different kind of lighting, the settings, and the different system that is there, which is meant purely to break the four regulative principles. Okay. If you have not been there, you're very fortunate. Don't go there. Okay. So the idea here is, if in a place like Earth, which has got very, very minimal enjoyment, right? In this place itself, if they can create places which are meant for, completely sense gratification, imagine the lokas that are there, the planetary systems that are there below us, which are meant only for this. And that is how this lower planetary system comes. So is it equally spread? I mean, is it equal? Why do you need so many locus? Not necessarily. The kind of people who are there also differ. The kind of association you will get will also differ. The kind of bodies you will get will also differ in each of these lower planetary systems, which is what we'll be seeing today. Okay. They are very attractive by nature. Like when we read about the Loka Loka mountain and the Aloka mountains, when we read about the golden Sumeru mountains, when we read about the different planetary systems that are there, higher planetary systems, there is some kind of an attraction. And many times our senior speakers keep telling us, don't get attracted to this. This is not the place that we want to go. We are reading it because it's part of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are understanding the glories or the opulence of the Lord's creation, so that somehow or other we say, if the creation is so beautiful, then how beautiful will be the creator? Let's go back to the real abode, which is permanently there. This is like a child builds a castle in the seashore, right? So, like a child or a father for the child builds a small house near the seashore. Imagine the same father, how beautiful house he would have built for the child, right? So, this entire place is like the seashore house. When the wave comes in, it will destroy. It will dukhalayam shashvatam, right? So, it's a very temporary place and place of misery. The real place is going back to the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So service at the lotus feet of the Lord. That's what our aim should be. Okay. So whatever we are reading here is because it's in Srimad Bhagavatam and we get attracted to it. So firstly, we have heard of this person called Maya Danava. We'll talk about him a little bit. But his son Bala is the one who created this Atala, or sorry, who's there as the ruler of this Atala. What is the kind of opulence that is there? So here we talk about the different mystic yogic powers, right? So being smaller than the smallest, being stronger than the strongest, and Kapya Siddhi and that Siddhi and this Siddhi, right? So we have few siddhis that we are aware of in this material world, in this earthly world. Now, if you go down to the Atala Loka, it said that there are 96 kind of, mystic powers, the siddhis that they can get. These yogis and swamis get a lot of power. They have those kind of people who will go and cheat. They will come to the earthly planets as well to cheat people and have some fun, right? So this is purely materialistic by nature. As siddhis, that's why it is said a devotee, as he progresses, he can also get certain siddhis. He can get empowered, and he will not use it for anything other than for the Lord. Okay. Okay. Simply by yawning, this Bala created three kinds of women. The descriptions are there. This Swairini is supposed to be a normal woman who gets married to the other man. This Kamini is someone who is very lustful woman. And the Pumschali is actually a woman who actually is kind of keeps changing husbands or partners or whatever, right? So the other part that we need to understand, in the higher planetary systems, the lower planetary systems are also places where you will get done with the karma that you have. As in, your good karma is the reason why you have gone to these Swarga planets. As long as you have your credit card balance, you can stay in that resort, right? So that's exactly this place. When you're done, you are thrown away from there. So you don't generally generate more karma. You don't create karma. This karma bhumi is the bhumi that we are there, and here that's why we are trying to get out of all the good and bad karma and get back to Godhead, right? So this is this place. Like you said, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartina Arjuna. Even if you go to Brahma's planet, you come back here. Similarly, even if you go to lower planetary system, you will actually come back here to exit, right? So imagine a big, tall building. We have the ground floor, we have the basement floors, and we have the higher floors. If you want to exit the building, either you go to higher floors or you go to lower floors. You have to come back to the ground floor, and this ground floor is our Earth, earthly planet. Okay, so imagine this one, so that it becomes easy to understand. So there are shopping malls downstairs also, upstairs also. Anyway, this is our exit point. And typically it says here, so, they have different partners, they have different kind of things. Basically, your four regulative principles are easily broken. The power of a man is so high, the craving of the woman is so high that they enjoy so much. And the most important point in this particular translation is that the person starts thinking that we have become God, right? So that is our biggest problem, even in this place, right? So we think we are the best. Everything runs around me, and that is your general thinking of everyone. Okay, the beggar on the street to the richest person, the strongest person, the most intelligent person. Materially, they all think I am the center of the center creation. Okay, so death does come to them. I think in the previous class you might have heard about this. How do they die or what happens? They don't age like us. Because there's no sunlight, there's no day and night for them. Okay, how do they get light? We will talk about it in a bit. But for them, it's just that time, and they are more anxious than we are and higher planetary system. So there's always anxiety, and there's always Sudarshan Chakra who is waiting for chopping off their mistakes, so getting them out of that. Okay, Atala is done. We'll move on to the next planet. The next planet below Atala is Vitala, wherein Lord Shiva, who is known as the master of gold mines, lives with his personal associates, the ghosts and similar living entities.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna Sati, Hare Krishna.
The screen is not changing, Prabhuji. It's just the index that is coming up.
Oh, I asked, I thought, what's changing? You are not,
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's
you are
changed now.
not seeing all this?
No, we were not seeing Prabhuji. I was wondering whether I should tell you, but I'll
Okay,
just.
but thank you for bringing it up, Mataji. Sorry for that. Okay. You are still seeing only that page. Okay, basically, I was talking about these lower planetary systems and the higher planetary systems. Like, okay, I should have checked. I asked if people are able to see this page. I
Thank
didn't
you,
realize I was
Prabhuji.
just sharing one part of it. Okay, now we are able to see.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so basically we were talking about this lower planetary system. This is your middle Earth. These are your basement floors, and these are your top floors, and this is where you exit. Okay, we'll talk about this in detail. Anyways, we finished Atala as a planet, where Bala is there. Now we'll move on to Vitala. Okay, the next planet below Atala is Vitala, wherein Lord Shiva, who is known as the master of gold mines, lives with his personal associates, the ghosts and similar living entities. Lord Shiva, as the progenitor, engages in sex with Bhavani, the progenitress, to produce living entities. And from the mixture of their vital fluids, the river named Hataki is generated. When fire being made to blaze by the wind drinks of this river and then sizzles and spits it out, it produces gold called Hataka. The demons who live on this planet with their wives decorate themselves with various ornaments made from this gold, from that gold, and thus they live there very happily. Okay, fine. So Lord Shiva is present here. Okay, along with that, Bhavani, Mother Parvati is also there. Their purpose is to take care of these lower beings, right? So he's called Bhutanath, and the people who are Bhutas, Pretas, Pishashas, ghosts, and similar others, they all worship Lord Shiva, and they have their set of fun there. These demons also have their wives, and there's a gold that is produced by the semen of Lord Shiva. It is mentioned here. That's called the Hataka. This place is also called, I think there was the name here. Uh, so this place is also called Hataka Loka, something like that, right? So there's a lot of gold there, and they wear various ornaments. So it's meant for material enjoyment, right? So you have heard from the Parikshit Maharaj story, Parikshit to your colleague, where can I stay? Place where there is production of gold. This one also, pulls people down to material world or material enjoyment. Okay. It appears that when Lord Shiva Bhavani unite, okay. So here if you see, there's a nice place, um, purport by Srila Prabhupada, which I've highlighted. This is from Srila Sanatan Goswami, states that when bell metal is treated with mercury, it produces gold. Right, so you've heard of that alchemy concept, right? So when iron is touched by certain metal, it actually turns into gold. Srila Sanatan Goswami mentions this in regard to the initiation of low class men to turn them into brahmanas. Sanatan Goswami says, Yatha Kanchanatam Yati कांस्यां रसभाजनतः ततः दीक्षा विधानेन द्विजत्वं जायते नृणाम्. Okay. Just as one transforms comes or bell metal into gold by treating it with mercury, one can also turn a low-born man into Brahmana by initiating him in properly in Vaishnava activities. The International Society of Krishna Consciousness is trying to turn Mlechas and Yavanas into real Brahmanas by properly initiating them and stopping them from engaging in the poor regulative or poor misdirected principles. Right. So this process of what Srila Prabhupada has built, right? So here it is very important that we briefly talk about Srila Prabhupada because yesterday was the 60th anniversary of ISKCON's creation, and this was the purpose. When I was reading this, this is what was striking me, saying that Srila Prabhupada created this ISKCON for this one simple purpose, that everyone, irrespective of their caste, creed, their social and physical and your financial position, everyone gets an opportunity to actually go back to God, turn them into top class Brahmins. That was the purpose. And we are all supposed to play a very important part in this. Just by this Harinam, just by giving devotees this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which we'll see the glories in a bit. So just by giving this Hare Krishna Mantra to others, we are helping this whole society progress spiritually, and it is not only something that we can do, it is something that we should do. It's our responsibility. That's when we are in this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's moment, somehow or other bring people into this Krishna consciousness, right? So that's it says, and very beautifully Srila Prabhupada connects back, saying that this semen of Lord Shiva, when it touches by that wind, it turns into gold. Similarly, when a devotee gives initiation to even the lowest class men, they can turn into the gold, which is Brahmanas. So such a wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada, so nicely given. Now, this Atala Vitala, we have seen the most important planet in the Bhilva Swarga is your Sutala planet. We have already heard this. This is a planet where Bali Maharaj is there. We'll touch upon it in a bit because this is important. Below the planet Vitala is another planet known as Sutala, wherein the great son of Maharaj Virochana, Bali Maharaj, who is celebrated as the most pious king, resides even now. For the welfare of Indra, the king of heaven, Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of a dwarf brahmachari as the son of Aditi and tricked Bali Maharaj by begging for only 3 paces of land, but taking all the 3 worlds. Being very pleased with Bali Maharaj for giving all his possessions, the Lord returned his kingdom and made him richer than the opulent king Indra. Even now, Bali Maharaj engages in devotional service by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the planet of Sutana. Now, we are not going to discuss the entire Vaman avatar. This Vaman avatar is actually described in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. After the Narsimha avatar, Prahlad Maharaj, after Prahlad Maharaj, his son was Virochana, and Virochana's son was your Bali Maharaj. So he is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Okay. And Bali Maharaj was actually very favorably disposed towards the Brahmanas. Uh, just a brief history so that we understand what's his position. See, If you remember the Prahlad Maharaj story, he was promised, 21 generations, 14 generations up, 7 generations down, they will get an opportunity to become devotees by God, Narasimha, right? So Prahlad Maharaj was very careful. In fact, Bali Maharaj glorifies him in this canto. So after Prahlad Maharaj, obviously his grandson was also favorably disposed. He's still a Daitya. You need to understand he's from the Daitya kind of, right? And he had his clash with Indra. So he went and once fought with Indra, and Indra defeated him. And he was almost put to death, or he was very weakly disposed. And that's when Shukracharya, his spiritual master, comes and revives him. And then with Shukracharya's teachings, he becomes very, very powerful. And then he starts associating with Brahmanas, who is very favorable. I mean, Maharaj Bali was very favorable towards the Brahmanas. And these Brahmanas taught him this Vishwajit Yagna. Remember that, right? So he can win the entire Vishwa. That was the background for this. So he started doing that, and he in fact defeated Indra and started taking away that position of Indra. So that's when Indra goes and prays to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji in turn prays to Kshirodaksha Vishnu with all the demigods, and then the Lord appears as Upendra, the brother of Indra, and that is what is later your Bali Maharaj, right? So the dwarf incarnation of the Lord. So Indra here actually prays for his kingdom back, right? So he wants his kingdom back, and Bali Maharaj is now sitting on Indra's throne. Now the Lord comes. We know this story. He comes. He asks as a Brahmana. He comes, right. So Bali Maharaj doesn't bother. He immediately says, "I'll give you." And Shukracharya tries to stop him. We know the story. Bali Maharaj doesn't listen to his own spiritual master. He says that if it is Lord Vishnu asking, then I will accordingly agree. And right after that, he tells him, take the 3 steps of land that you want. And the Lord Vamana expands as Trivikrama form. And then in 2 steps, he captures the entire creation, which was under Bali Maharaj, and says, where should I put the 3rd feet? And immediately Bali Maharaj surrenders to him. Okay, this usually when we look at the 9 steps of devotional service, we talk about Bali Maharaj as Atma Nivedanam, right? So the last step, he surrenders completely unto the lotus feet of the Lord. He understands it's a Supreme Lord, he completely surrenders. And being very pleased with Bali Maharaj, your Vamandev returns him his place, and he actually gives him this place of Sutala planet. This is the planet that we are talking about. The 3rd one in the Bilvaswarga. He says, you go there, you rule there, and you will become the next Indra. Not only that, but I will personally guard your kingdom. So if you look at the planetary system that are there, Atala, Vitala, Sutala. So all these lower planetary systems, these are places of high material enjoyment, zero spiritual enjoyment. But Sutala planet is an exception to this because a devotee like Bali Maharaj is staying there, and he is doing devotional service to the Lord. Lord Vamandev is also staying there. He does not let anyone enter without proper permission or without proper purpose. Okay, so that is this planet of Sutala. So very favorably disposed. We'll see a few more details of this Sutala planet. But here now this is very important. This shloka is probably the most important shloka for today. There are 2 very key words. One is called the Punya shloka, the other is called Uttama shloka in this place. And Uttama shloka describes the Lord. Uttama shloka, we have heard this in multiple places. Punya shloka sometimes refer to the Lord. Punya shloka here, it's actually referring to the devotee of the Lord, which is your Bali Maharaj. Okay, the Punya shloka means out of his piety, he is increasing the glories of the Lord through the verses that is the shlokas that he is telling. That's why he's called Punya shloka. Okay, and like we know, he surrendered himself fully to the Lord. Anyways, from the past time, let's read the purport here highlighted. Bali Maharaj gave him everything he had. However, Bali Maharaj did not become poor by donating all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He became a successful devotee and got everything back with the blessings of the Lord. So when Bali Maharaj surrendered fully, right, so he did not stop. He did not think that, okay, if I give away these 3 pieces of land, then I will not have everything. The moment he understood it was the Supreme Lord, he immediately said that you take everything. In fact, you take me as well, right? So that is the nature of a devotee. who actually surrenders, right? So what does a devotee do? Prabhupada says similarly, those who give contribution to expand the activities of Krishna consciousness movement and to accomplish its objectives will never be losers. They will get their wealth back with the blessings of the Lord. On the other side, those who collect contributions on behalf of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness should be very careful not to use even a farthing of the collection for any purpose other than the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Okay, so a very important concept that we all know, the concept of charity is very clearly given here, right? So we need to have a clear plan of giving charity to the movement. That's what Srila Prabhupada says here. We need to be very favorably disposed towards giving charity. The Shastras, through the examples of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, teaches us that we should give 50% of whatever we earn. Spiritual master, my spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Guru Maharaj, he keeps saying that we should give at least 11% of whatever we earn in charity. For spreading this Krishna consciousness, it's very clear. Whatever favorable activities that you're doing, this can come from that 11%. Right? So you can do your preaching, you can do your program, you can subscribe for this Zoom link, you can be technical, non-technical, you can come and serve in the temple. Whatever activities you're doing, you can contribute within that 11%, but do that because whatever you give to the Lord, you're not a loser, but you're going to gain by many, many million times more. And that's purely coming from this example of Bali Maharaj, wherein he gave everything, but he got even more than what he has given. In fact, he was just sitting on Indra's planet, Indra Loka, right? And now he gets Sutala planet, and it is even more opulent and more worshipable than Indra's planet as well. Similarly, when Dhruva Maharaj surrendered fully, he got the Dhruva planet. Right? So even more, even better than the Satya Loka, if you remember. Dhruva Loka personally has the Supreme Lord in the form of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, right? The milk ocean. So, like that, when you surrender, when you give to the Lord, the returns that you get are many multifold. Okay, and Bali Maharaj did not do with that intention. Right, so it's very clear. We'll see that in the next translation. It's not that Bali Maharaj said that I will give you, then I will get back. The Lord decides how much to give. And Srila Prabhupada, in fact, it's mentioned in the lower purpose, he says that when the Lord blesses you, he actually takes away your material opulences. Okay, we'll move on. We'll see some more glories of Bali Maharaj. My dear king, Bali Maharaj donated all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamandev. But one should certainly not conclude that he achieved the great worldly opulence in Bilvasvarga as a result of his charitable disposition. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of life for all living entities, lives within everyone as the friendly supersoul. And under his direction, a living entity enjoys or suffers in the material world. Greatly appreciating the transcendental qualities of the Lord, Bali Maharaj offered everything at his lotus feet. His purpose, however, was not to gain anything material, but to become a pure devotee. For a pure devotee, the door of liberation is automatically opened. One should not think that Bali Maharaj was given so much material opulence merely because of his charity. When one becomes a pure devotee in love, he may also be blessed with good material position by the will of the Supreme Lord. However, one should not mistakenly think that the material opulence of the devotee is the result of his devotional service. The real result of devotional service is the awakening of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which continues under all circumstances. Long translation, not even getting into the purport because Srila Prabhupada has not given the purport. The translation covers everything. So basically meaning that do not think what materially you will get with your devotional service. The results are even much, much higher than what you can actually get here. Right? So, and what you can get is pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, when we do our devotional services properly, Lord takes care of what He should give and what He will remove. Lord may bless him with good material position. The Lord may bless you that you will get a good husband, good wife, good social position, lot of riches, whatever. He may bless, or He may remove it. Leave that decision to the Lord and fully accept that the Lord plays a very important role in each and every one's life, right? So our life is as the Lord wants. If one who is embarrassed by hunger, or one who falls down or stumbles chants the holy name of the Lord even once, willingly or unwillingly, is immediately freed from the reactions of his past deeds. Karmis entangled in material activities face many difficulties in the practice of mystic yoga and other endeavors to achieve that same freedom. Forget the karmis. There's a very nice point here. If one chants the holy name of the Lord even once, willingly or unwillingly. Okay, this one, I remember a very nice example that was given by one of the devotees. I recently was hearing his class. So he says, when what happens if you chant the holy name even once? Now, today morning, I don't know how many of you finished 16 rounds. I'm yet to finish my rounds. Um, but even once, if you chant the holy name of the Lord, right? So even once you chant, how the Lord reacts to it is very wonderful. Like a to be father who stands in front of the maternity ward waiting for the child to be born. The Lord is so eager, like a father, is walking up and down in front of the maternity ward, saying, "When is my child being born? When is my child born?" Right? So he's just walking while the wife is pregnant inside, waiting for the delivery of the baby. Like that, when you chant Hare Krishna mantra once, the Lord is so eager that He's waiting for you to come back. That is the eagerness that the Lord shows, that somehow or other this person will come back. Right. So when is he going to come? When is he going to come? That's the eagerness that the Lord has. It said that we should be very eager. Our uh, greed, our lowlium should be so high that I want to go back to Godhead. We should be very, very eager. And it says the Lord is million times more eager than we are for us to go back to Godhead, go back to His service, right? So the Lord is million times more eager than us, and it starts with this one Hare Krishna mantra. So imagine when we actually are chanting this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When we are actually chanting this Maha Mantra, when we are actually calling out the Lord, willingly, unwillingly, little bit, sincerely, if we do it, Lord is just waiting to pull us back. And the karmis can never understand this. Never understand this. So our chanting should actually become very, very, very focused. Okay. Bhukti Mukti Pradayate, right? So Bhukti, so material enjoyment, Mukti, so liberation, both are actually available. And Srila Bilvamangal Thakur actually mentions that the Mukti or liberation is waiting at my doorstep, eagerly waiting for me to come back. Liberation is telling, come back, come back. I'm saying, please wait. I'm in the service of the Lord. Do not disturb me. That is the acharyas, that's a devotee saying that even when mukti is waiting on the doorstep, they are not too interested. They are like, you wait, I will come, because I am busy serving the Lord. Okay, there's a lot of glories of this holy name that's mentioned here. I really want to read some of them, from the Haridas Thakura's pastime. So okay, so some say that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is freed from all the reactions of sinful activities, and others say by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one attains liberation from material bondage. Haridas Thakur, however, said that the desired result of chanting the holy name of the Lord is not that one is liberated from material bondage or freed from reactions of sinful life. The actual result of chanting the holy name of the Lord is that one awakens his dormant Krishna consciousness, his loving service to the Lord. When we say in the morning, right? So Krishna Prema, will be actually achieving Krishna Prema. The Krishna Prema is within all of us. We originally belong there, right? So we originally are meant for that purpose. That which is dormant, that love for the Lord, that eagerness for the Lord, which is dormant in us, that gets awakened when one chants the Hare Krishna mantra. Everything else, like removing of your sinful reactions or getting liberation, all these are byproducts of your Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There's a lot more details in these purports. Please take time and read it, because we go into the details and we will not be able to complete the chapter. But how do you know we are progressing? This analogy is very nicely given here, right? So when the sunrise happens, even before you see the sun, you will see that the darkness is going away, right? So Chaitanya Charitamrita talks about this example. Even before the sun is completely out, the darkness is actually going away. You know that the sun is coming. Similarly, when you're chanting this Hare Krishna mantra,
the tendencies to do wrong things, the heart becomes purified. You start getting cleansed even before you get love of God. Even before the sun is fully erased, your fear disappears, your anxieties go away. You actually become very, very safe in Krishna consciousness. So any of us who actually have different anxieties of what will happen with this AI takeover. Some years back, we were thinking what will happen with COVID. I can't even go out of the house. All these anxieties that cover us. What will happen with my wealth, my power, my prestige, my health, whatever it is, right? So all these fears and anxieties they actually go away when this Hare Krishna mantra is placed in our hearts. So whatever disturbances you're having is because we are still thinking we are material. And a person is very peaceful when it comes to Krishna consciousness. And I love this example because I've personally seen it, which is during COVID, there was so much of anxiety, so much of uncertainty that was happening all over the world, all over, at office, at friends, whoever talks, they are like, "Arey, kya hoga, kya ho raha hai?" Right? So this was happening, and many of us have been through this, right? So we have seen this through, and then we were fortunate because there was lockdown. We could stay in the temple, and we could get the opportunity to attend the Mangalarti and different, but not many were allowed inside the temple, and we could stay inside because we have a place in the temple. And when we attend the Mangalarti and devotees are jumping, dancing, they are in their own world. And like, bhai, you come out, you log in into your office, you look at people outside, they are so restless, and devotees are so happy, so peaceful, enjoying, saying that Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rake. If Krishna decides to protect, who can kill us? And if Krishna decides to kill, who can protect? So being so surrendered, being so happy, that's the devotee. So the more we become devotees, the more we surrender to the holy name, the easier we come down to this happiness in Krishna consciousness. Anyway, there are three stages of your nama, right? So your nama pra, nama bhasa, and your shuddha nam. So it talks about the Srila Prabhupada talks about it. Yeah, we all know this. So even in the phase of nama parad, if you're still chanting, you will still get out of this fear. Imagine if you come down to nama bhas where you're chanting offenselessly, or you come to shuddha nam, which is your pure chanting. If you come down to that, how much more this process is decent, right? So this is the smallest shloka in terms of shloka. Purport is very nice. We'll continue. Shloka 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as a super soul, sells himself to his devotees, such as Narad Muni. In other words, the Lord gives pure love to such devotees and gives himself to those who love him purely. Great self-realized mystic yogis, such as the four Kumaras, also derive great transcendental bliss from realizing the super soul within themselves. This is all talking about pure devotees because now Bali Maharaj has been established as pure devotees. This shloka itself can, sorry, this shloka itself can be a full class, but we'll not go too much into depth how Narad Muni, how the four Kumaras, how pure devotees are actually very, very dear. From the purport, you can see Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, doorkeeper. The Lord became the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj in Sutala planet. He actually took up that position that he would not let anyone else come inside. And that's what the Lord does when you actually surrender to Him. The Lord protects you without letting any of the material things come inside. When you are fully surrendered, Lord takes care of you. This position of a doorkeeper has a very nice set of pastimes. He'll come there, we'll try to cover them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead did not award his mercy to Bali Maharaj by giving him material happiness and opulence. For these make one forget loving service to the Lord. The result of material opulence is that one can no longer absorb his mind in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee, when he becomes, spiritually inclined, the Lord takes care of him. Then he can become materially opulent or not. But in the beginning stage, the Lord ensures, that He removes your material positions. The special mercy of the Lord for a neophyte devotee is that he becomes materially poor. Okay. The next promotion that you're expecting, the next big money that you're expecting, the family wealth that you're expecting, he will remove all that. Because he says that the moment I give you this, you will become busy with that. Right? So you suddenly feel that, no, I'm not able to progress because, or you will be busy with taking care of your material things that you will actually not become favorable to the Lord. So Lord's Special mercy is that he removes your material, things, material opulences. Then when you fully surrender, you become a pure devotee, then he gives everything. And Srila Prabhupada is the best example, right? So his business was under loss, his family was not very favorable. He gave up everything, he took sannyas, he went to Vrindavan, and in the next 10 years, after he established ISKCON, right? So today, we're talking about 60 years now. In the next 10 years, he traveled across the globe so many times, established 108 temples. He became one of the most opulent personalities. What else you need, right? So when you become a devotee, the Lord actually fully takes care of you. Shloka 23. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead could see no other means of taking everything away from Bali Maharaj, he adopted the trick of begging from him and took away all the three worlds. Thus, only his body was left. But the Lord was still not satisfied. He arrested Bali Maharaj, bound him with the ropes of Varuna, and threw him in a cave in a mountain. Nonetheless, although all his property was taken and he was thrown into the cave, Bali Maharaj was such a great devotee that he spoke as follows. So this is an extension of this pastime, wherein Bali Maharaj did not do Atmanivedanam immediately. So Lord said, "You have given me only two things. You have misplaced your words. So because you did not fulfill, I'm going to throw you into a cave." He tied him up with the rope and he threw him away. Okay, that's what it says here. Anyways, now Bali Maharaj is replying back. He's speaking. Okay, just give me one moment to do this. Okay, oh, did I miss the pastors? Okay, we'll come there in a bit. Anyway, Um, so Bali Maharaj is speaking. How pitiable it is for Indra, the king of heaven, that although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chose Brihaspati as his prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. Brihaspati is also unintelligent because he did not properly instruct his disciple Indra. Lord Vamandev was standing at Indra's door, but King Indra, instead of begging him for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service, engaged him in asking for alms to gain the three worlds for the sense gratification. Sovereignty over the three worlds is very insignificant because whatever material opulence one may possess lasts only for an age of Manu, which is but a tiny fraction of endless time. So Bali Maharaj here is condemning Indra. He says, they knew you were the Supreme Lord, Indra and Brihaspati being a spiritual master. They knew they're going to the Supreme Lord and asking him for what? Giving the Indra Loka back, right? So Indra Loka, I need it back, take it away from Bali and give me. That was what they went and begged from Lord Vamandev. And Bali Maharaj says, how pitiable, how foolish, how unintelligent these people are. And they did not know that they should have just gone there and asked for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service. So whenever we are going in front of the Lord, we have been hearing this many, many times. You should always pray. You should always have prayers in your mouth. Go and stand in front of the Lord and pray for whatever you need. And if you ask for anything, even the Indra's planet or the position of Brahma is still called foolish because they have a end time. Only spiritual life is your unending, eternal. Right? So we have done this many, many times. So what's the point here? The time one is allotted, even if it's millions of years, they're quickly gone by. And they're so unintelligent if they actually ask for this. And Vamandev, they should just ask for engaging in his service. Bali Maharaj continues, right? So he says, my grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, is the only person who understood his own self-interest. Upon the death of Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narasimhadev wanted to offer Prahlad his father's kingdom and even wanted to grant him liberation from material bondage. But Prahlad accepted neither. Liberation and material opulence, he thought, are obstacles to devotional service, and therefore, such gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not his actual mercy. Consequently, instead of accepting the result of karma and jnana, Prahlad Maharaj simply begged the Lord for engagement in the service of his servants. Next point, engage in the service of the servant. Gopi Bharta Pada Kamalayo, Dasa Dasa no Dasa. So Bali Maharaj is saying, my grandfather Prahlad Maharaj was the intelligent person because he was selfish. We should all be selfish. No, we should all be selfish. that I want to become a devotee and I want to be many more devotees. That selfishness is very pleasing to the Lord because that is your true selfishness. You want to come back to your true identity. And you can do that not by serving the Lord directly, but serving the servants of the servants of the servants of the Lord who are actually trying to please the Lord. And we are all trying, or we should be trying to serve this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which Srila Prabhupada has given us. Okay. So Bali Maharaj said, persons like us who are still attached to material enjoyment, who are contaminated with the modes of material nature and who lack the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot follow the supreme path of Prahlad Maharaj, the exalted devotee of the Lord. So he's telling Indra and Brihaspati and others were all foolish when they came. But my grandfather Prahlad Maharaj was very intelligent. It's not easy, but that is the right path to follow. So we should always follow the path of acharyas or authorities who are guiding us properly. So we should know who is the right guru and we should follow the right guru completely. Okay. So kind of ending to this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami continued. This particular Sutala, we have to finish a few more planets. Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, how shall I glorify the character of Bali Maharaj, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of the three worlds, who is most compassionate to his own devotee, stands with club in hand at Bali Maharaj's door. When Ravana, the powerful demon, came to gain victory over Bali Maharaj, Vamandev kicked him at a distance of 80,000 miles with his big toe. I shall explain the character and activities of Bali Maharaj later. So it's there in the 8th canto, like what we said. So this Ravana's pastime is very nice. Now, Ravana not only took care of this earth, but he actually went to the lower planetary systems and captured some of them. Okay. In fact, there are a lot of pastimes that are there. Even to Patal Loka, he went and fought with Navarakachas and Bali Maharaj. He went and he fought. Then he understood that he can never get into this place. Okay. But I have a nice small pastime. We can just look at it about the glories of the Lord, right? So, this Ravana, when he understood Bali Maharaj was his forefather from the Daitya, everybody came much later. No, this Vamana Avatar, Bali Maharaj, all these one you're talking about, Hiranyakashipu, everything in Satya Yuga. And here Ravana is coming in your Treta Yuga. Much smaller, much lower in scheme and things like that. So when when Ravana understood that Lord Ram and the Vanar Sena is attacking them. So when we spoke about the planetary system, we also understood that the Vanar Sena was not the monkeys of the earthly planet, right? So they were coming from the higher planetary system, like your King Purusha versions, right? So I'm hoping you all remember, right? So they are coming from there. So Ravana said, okay, let me take help of Bali Maharaj and others who are in the lower planets. He had his ghostly friends and others who came and helped him, right? So if you remember the story of Mahi Ravana and Ahi Ravana who kidnapped, Rama and Lakshmana when Hanumanji had to go through the tunnel to the lower planetary systems, all that, all these are connected to this 14 planetary systems. Anyways, when you have time, you can read through it, but we'll just talk about one pastime here. So Ravana has been kicked away once by Vamandev. So next time he comes there, he says that, okay, I want to meet Bali Maharaj, who is my forefather, and I have not come here to fight with him. So he comes alone. So he's allowed inside, he goes and meets Bali Maharaj. He says, Bali Maharaj, there is this human called Rama who has come to fight with me. Many people say that he looks like he is Vishnu Avatar and all that. Can you support me so that we can defeat him together? So Bali Maharaj, smiling, says that you are mistaken, my dear child. This is not a place you should fight. Ravana says, see, all I'm asking you is for support. You can give some encouraging words. Why are you actually, being very negative about things? So Bali Maharaj says, I will actually give you something which will help you. Okay. So he takes him to a huge mountain made of, very precious stone, huge mountain. And he says, please bring this mountain along. So come, bring this mountain along. All this in Sutala planet. Okay. And this is not from Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastime that I'm talking about. It's from untold stories. So Ravana tries to move that mountain. He's not able to move. Ravana is very, very powerful, like we know, right? He even tried to move the Kailasha. So he's trying to move. It doesn't move an inch. So Ravana, after some time, gives up. He comes back to Balimara and says, "Not able to move. But you told you will give me that, but I'm not able to do anything. What should I do with this huge mountain made of this huge crystal?" So Balimara tells him, "See, I think you will get what I had told you. Basically, this huge mountain that you see is the earring of Hiranyakashipu. It's a earring, no small earring of Hiranyakashipu. When the same Lord Narayana or Vishnu came as Narsimha, he killed Hiranyakashipu. His earring fell here. That is what you were not able to even move it, and you are talking about going and destroying or defeating that personality. You should be extremely foolish. Okay, that's what I wanted to give you, that lesson that you are foolish." So Ravana understood, but his ego did not let him. He said that whatever that Narsimha came, when this came, Narayana came, I don't care. You have your Raman Dev, he has his Narsimha Dev. I will go and fight and defeat Lord Ram. And he came back. So many times we are given very, very clear clues, very clear instructions by our acharyas about how we should not be so insensitive towards the material things. We should be very, very careful that I'm not taken away by Maya. Even though we know it's wrong, we continue to do it. And that's called foolishness. And that's what we learn from Ravana's story from Sutta. We'll go on. I think this is the last part. Sorry, Sutala is done. So we'll move on to the next planet. Beneath the Sutala planet, the planet known as Sutala is another planet called Talatala, which is ruled by the Danava demon Maya. Maya is known as the Acharya or master of all the Mayavis, who can invoke the power of sorcery. For the benefit of the three worlds, Lord Shiva, who is known as Tripurari, once set fire to the three kingdoms of Maya. He actually created the real Tripura. Three Puras, which are flying majestic kingdoms. Okay, but later, being pleased with him, he returned his kingdom. Since that time, Maya Danava has been protected by Lord Shiva, and therefore he falsely thinks he need not fear the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of God. So this Talatala, Maya Danava stays there. Maya Danava is again a Dhanava. It's a demoniac personality. But he's very, very, he's master of all this. So if you remember, Hastinapur and Indraprastha passed him, the Pandavas. So in Indraprastha, they created this Maya Sabha. If you remember this, when Duryodhana comes and falls and Draupadi laughs at him. This was created by this Maya Dhanava. Like that, he created the Tripura, and he's one of the architects of doing all these things. Like you have the Vishwakarma as an architect for all spiritual things, for all the mystic things. Maya Dhanava is usually said to be the architect. There are many, many other pastimes, but we're not going to those of Maya Dhanava. So that is your Talatala. The planetary system below Talatala is known as Mahatala. It is the abode of many hooded snakes, descendants of Kadru, who are always very angry. The great snakes who are prominent are Kuhaka, Takshaka, Kaliya, and Susena. The snakes in Mahatala are always disturbed by the fear of Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. But although they are full of anxiety, some of them nevertheless sport with their wives, children, friends, and relatives. So we need to understand that they are not like the snakes that we see. In fact, in one of the places I was reading, though I don't see it in Srimad Bhagavatam, it just said that this place, which is Mahatala and Patala, these have many, many hooded snakes, many head snakes, right? So if you go to any of your, these are called the Nagalokas, basically. In fact, Patala is usually the Nagaloka. If you go to any of those temples, from our childhood, we'd have gone to those temples where there are multiple snakes, where we put water on Nagapachmi, Nagachaturthi, we have your Vasuki and your Kadru and all that. So if you remember, they are all multi-headed snakes, but generally we have not seen. So they are all coming from the descriptions here, and they are also prayed for from a material perspective. They are also very opulent, they are, and they have your typical life. They talk to each other. They have all the opulences and everything. Don't think like what we see here, right? So they have their own full-fledged family. They have 5 children, sports and everything. This also comes in the Mahabharata to an extent. Anyways, So we have reached the Mahatala. So we have seen Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala. We'll move on. So all these places fear either Sudarshan Chakra, like what we saw in the previous, and wherever they saw these snakes are there, they also fear Garudadev because Garudadev supportingly goes and feeds them. That's there. Okay, we'll move on to Mahatala. Beneath Mahatala is the planetary system known as Rasatala, which is the abode of demoniac sons of Diti and Dhanu. They are called Panis, Nivatakavachas, Kaliyas, and Hiranyapuravasis. Hiranyapuravasis, okay? Those living in Hiranyapura. They are all enemies of the demigods and they reside in holes like snakes. From birth, they are extremely powerful and cruel, and although they are proud of their strength, they are always defeated by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who rules all the planetary systems. When a female messenger of Indra called Sarama chants a particular curse, the serpent and demons of Mahatala become very afraid of Indra. So you might know few of these things from Rasatala. Basically, Nimatakavacha you might have heard. Right? So they once came and fought with Indra, and Indra actually called Arjuna to fight there, and Arjuna came and defeated Nivatakavachas. One time, Ravana wanted to defeat, like when he went to Sutala, he also came to Rasatala and he fought with the Nivatakavachas and they defeated Ravana and sent him back. So all these pastimes are there. These are different people that are there in this Rasatala planet. As we go down, it's more darker planets. This is the last shloka. Beneath Rasatala is another planetary system known as Patala or Nagaloka, where there are many demoniac serpents, the masters of Nagaloka, such as Shanka, Pulika, Mahashanka, Shweta, Dhananjaya, Dhritarashtra, Shankachuda, Kambala, Ashwatara, and Devadatta. The chief among them is Vasuki. They are all extremely angry and there are many, many hoods. Some snakes, uh, five hoods, some seven, some 10. Others are hundreds and others are thousands. These hoods are bedecked with valuable gems, and the light emanating from these gems, from the gems, illuminates the entire planetary system of Bilvasvarga. So Bilvasvarga, we heard that they don't have sun, but with these snakes, they have the money on their head, right? So with that, they actually illuminate the entire lower planetary systems of Bilvasvarga. Okay. Thus, since the Bhaktivedanta purport of the fifth canto, 24th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Subterranean Heavenly Planets. So let me stop here. You would have any questions or any comments on what we discussed? Speak, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Tanvit Pranam. Prabhuji, Vaman incarnation happened in the Satya Yuga, right? And Ravana's story that you mentioned, he existed in Dwapar Yuga. Sorry, yeah, Treta Yuga.
Yes.
So was it in between or what was that?
What is in between?
Like the story, because he existed in
The past time.
Treta Yuga.
Okay, we need to understand that Yuga is very, very small. Your Chatur Yuga just flies away. There are 72 Chatur Yugas in 1000 years of Brahma. 72 Manvantaras in your one Kalpa, one day of Brahma, right? So 1000 Chatur Yugas. There are so many yugas that keep flying in one day of Brahma, and it's mentioned no one Manu. The duration of life for any of this is one Manu. So your Bali Maharaj is there in the Sutala planet, and he's going to be there for a long, long time. So Ravana was here only for that Treta Yuga's short period, not comparable at all. So when he goes there, he goes there. Uh, Bali Maharaj is still there. Bali Maharaj will actually become the next Indra. That is why he's waiting there. Like that, there are personalities. They become the next Manu, they become the next Indra, and so on. The positions they take up. So it's not in between, Mataji. It was after your Satya Yuga, your Treta Yuga comes. In the Treta Yuga, you would have come, or you would have come in many other Treta Yugas later also. It need not be immediate Treta Yuga. That's not mentioned anywhere. But Ravana tried defeating others. That was his nature.
Prabhuji, they even Vasishta Muni lived in two or I think two yugas or something. It's not that they are limited to one yuga.
Yeah, yeah. Vashishta, see, again, these, when we talk about the Sapta Rishis, so Vashishta Rishi is one of those Sapta Rishis. These people have a different lifetime at all, right? So we
Yes.
need to understand, we cannot calculate from the earthly perspective, right? So Earth is very small. When you go to higher planetary system, a typical example we always quote is, if you go to higher planetary system, the logo of Ganesh ji. So we do the Ganesh Chaturthi. Many of you might have been used to doing Ganesh Chaturthi, right? Before we came to KC. Ganesh Chaturthi, we offer him once in a year, we offer him some food. That is everyday morning for him. It is not that he will eat once in a year, right? So everyday morning for him. That means our 12 hours is 6 months for the people in the higher planetary system. So our yugas are nothing for them. They just live across multiple yugas.
Hmm. And Prabhuji, actually, when we read the family tree of Kardama Muni, I was sure that Kardama Muni, Kapila, who was born to him, they are the highest consciousness that we can even imagine of. And Ravana happens to be the great grandson who is of the lowest consciousness, Prabhuji.
No, see, we need to understand Kardama Muni, Devotee, they had, so Ravana, so if you remember the Ravana story, right? So the lineage comes from both sides, mother side and father side. So he had
Ah,
married
yes, yes,
right? So he's the wife of Mrityu, right? So that's how he was born. A lot of such pastimes that are there.
yes,
Right? So the consciousness is not one-sided, and consciousness also comes heavily with association that you take and the desires that we have, material versus non-material desires.
yes, Prabhuji.
Fortunate that we have got this opportunity, and we should be able to pass it on to our children. What happens to them, that is between them and the Lord, right? So these things happen.
Yes, Prabhuji. So it's not surprising. So we have to work hard. Each one of us has to work hard. Otherwise, anytime there's a chance for us to slip.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely true. It's an everyday fight with Maya, right? So it's an everyday test. And we fall, we wake up, we fall, we wake up. Someday we will be steady that we don't fall. And that's the day we are waiting for. You know, everyone, at least a few times a day, we are falling. Some people more than the others.
Yes, Prabhuji.
The test, Maya will keep testing us. We should understand that it's a test of Maya and we are falling because we are not strong enough. Not because the Lord doesn't want us, right? So the Lord is very desperately waiting for us.
Yes, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, after that Shishumara planetary system chapter, which was covered 10 days, 15 days back, I was just looking at the satellite pictures of our planetary systems, and I saw that I could see the inverted dolphin shape with those different orbits described in the Bhagavatam, Prabhuji. Am I right or am I imagining it?
See, the shape is like this.
Yeah, I saw
Shishumara,
that shape.
Shishuma is the converted dolphin. The head on this side, the tail is here. The tail is your Dhruvaloka. All the different planetary systems are here. The Saptarishis are near the abdomen, and it's mentioned that way. We can actually see the sky, and you can imagine the shape. That's how the zodiacs are all done, right? So,
Yeah, it
how,
is there, very much there. I saw the satellite pictures, and what the Munis have seen long back. That means without all these pictures, they saw it, and we are getting to see them now. But am I seeing the same thing that they are saying, or am I imagining it, Prabhuji?
Mataji, you can actually see the same thing. It's
Okay,
you're not imagining. You can actually see the same thing. We have the same Orion
shape.
constellation. We have the same pole star. I mean, English speaking, you have the Saptarishi world, which is your forgetting the constellation name, but also Big Dipper. All this is actually available. You can see it on sky. It's not
Yeah,
in
yes,
motion.
Prabhuji. Including all the orbits are also seen.
Yes, yes. You can't
Yes.
see the orbits. You can just imagine the orbits. It's
They,
only the constellations, the
okay,
zodiac
okay.
signs, right? So you can actually see
Yes,
it in the night sky. It's possible.
yes, Prabhuji.
In fact,
Thank
there
you
are
so
many
much.
apps. I think I was using them few years back, maybe a decade back. You have apps you can actually point to the sky and it will tell you which zodiac it is. It's a very interesting topic for devotees who want to know. you should not get diverted and start imagining that I can understand the entire creation. That's not our point. Our point is to get out of this material creation. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. But it's possible to actually do these zodiacs. And many
Yes,
devotees
Prabhuji.
like Pavaneshwar Prabhu and others have written books around it, Bhagavad cosmology using this. So they have also been
Yeah.
seeing, they have been talking about these things.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. If there are no other comments, I know we are off time. We have the next sessions that are coming up. Thank you everyone for joining. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.